Hello and welcome back to Heroes of Might and Magic, a strategic quest. So, in between the videos, I did quite a few tests in the last scenario to see what I could actually do, and I actually found a way to win. So now I will try and recreate it. I created a few save files, so in case I can't recreate it, I can at least load and show you how it actually went. But yeah, so if you recall, the object of the scenario is to take over a dragon town. And we do have quite a few troops here. In fact, that should be enough to take out a regular dragon town. Of course, the path towards it is quite treacherous, and we know from the scenario description that it's over the water. So, as such, I need to do some preparations. Now, first of all, the archers have to be left behind, because they will slow everything down, and I cannot really afford that. Next, I want 4 cavalry, I think. I should be able to get some more, but I think I don't want to risk it, so I'll just take 4 cavalry. Next, I want to go down there. Getting the gold mine would be a very small detour, and I'm not sure if I can actually take it or not. So I don't really want to risk it right now. But if leaving the archers would give me enough time to actually take it and then go down, that might allow me to get some more troops in the starting town, and that would allow me to have a bit easier time against the enemies. But yeah, anyway, so this arrangement is nice in that all of the enemies are actually 2 days away from my town. And my town isn't really defended well, but I don't really care much, because if I move fast enough, I should be able to obtain another town. As usual, all the enemies converge onto my town. Having all of these heroes be around here is good, because that means, well, for one, since I went back and forth, they couldn't get back to their town. So they can't really do much, because they don't have supplies. So none of them can actually pose a threat to Actor. So that's good. And they also use up their hero limit, so they can't build more heroes anywhere else. And I still don't want to buy anything here. Okay, there's a ship there. I do need a ship to get there. Okay, nobody managed to get there just yet. That gives me 1,000 gold. And day 6. And here we have Sorpagal. If they take over my town, and I can take over their town, then nothing bad will happen. I have 3,800. I want to keep all the gold. This guy is normally not much of a threat, fact, if I had bought all the cavalry, I would be able to defend against these guys. But as it is, not really. Nice. Managed to get the tower to shoot twice. Okay, so now I have a week until I lose, but the town is right next to me. Now this plan isn't foolproof. Enemy movements can very well change how things go. So anyway, we got Sarpagol. Golden Dwarves, 102 archers, 8 griffins, 146 peasants, 20 pikemen. I want to blind the archers, obviously. Anyone else is not really much of a threat at this point. Ideally, I would not lose a paladin. Not too bad. Want them to attack my paladins. Oh, I lost the paladin anyway. Oh, doesn't matter. Nice. 90 archers, 12 archers. Heh. And luck. Well, losing one paladin was unfortunate, but I can get a lot more paladins here. But the most important thing, the shipyard. And the ship. And now I have 840, so I can afford one paladin. And can I afford cavalry? No. Well, I can afford a pikeman. And on the same day I can board the boat. Also in here we have summon boat. That's pretty nice, but not really useful because you need to have a friendly boat. So you can't just create one out of thin air. Okay, and now this is the important part. If everything goes well, let's save. If everything goes well, I will be able to sail away from here. Okay, that's good. Yes. This is Dmitri. Yeah. Lots sounds lots hard. If Dmitri had attacked me, I would have lost. Simple as that. But he was just a bit too late. That's why I had to put the archers into the town. So I could be here just a bit before Dimitri gets here. Interestingly enough, he is on land. Sometimes he takes a boat. And then you get to encounter him in the sea. Sometimes he actually lands on this island itself. Well, I could have bought some troops, but doesn't really matter. Yeah. I can make it in a week, easily. Okay, now this. Oh, really? Down griffins, interesting. I was expecting more. Okay, what I want to do. Since we'll be fighting dragons, I can use blind and curse as I see fit. Just fire everything. Oh, probably should have just attacked and then used blind on someone else, but whatever. That's not where I pressed. But yes, I want to protect the paladins. Okay. You can skip. And this works. And now the Dragon City. No towns, one hero. Let's see how it goes. I'm afraid this boat is too late. Yep, nothing attacked Ector, so we have a direct path here. Okay, before we do that, I need to do something. Okay, there we go. Let's attack. Oh no, I actually should not have done that, because this is a bad position. Now my paladins are protected from the dragons. And you cannot move. Okay, well, we have blesses, so let's start blessing people. I think I want to keep my minotaurs just as bait. But yeah, that's more dragons than usual. I can't really attack them. That's right. This isn't really going as well as I had hoped. I can still win. That's unfortunate. Oh, nice. Okay, I think I will be able to win this. Because the dragons can only attack one by one. And I have enough paladins to do it. I could have used Bless, but I didn't even need to. Alright, so that is the final battle of the game. And against the odds, I managed to beat the game. Spell power +1. And I have conquered the mighty dragons. 1000 gold a day for my cause is not really going to do anything, but more importantly, my heroes, our foes have been scattered, their castles broken and laid bare. The great campaign is now complete, and I stand before you as the undisputed High King. Our victory was achieved in 549 days. Nice. And so that is how Lord Ironfist has become the ruler of the continent of Enroth. Alright. Of course, Great Emerald, and we got to the high score list. That's a bit weird. I mean, why wouldn't it open the campaign thing itself? Well, anyway, 549 days, got a Hydra rank. Not bad. Not as good as Maximus, who also played Lord Ironfist apparently, but still pretty good. Alright, so that's that, and let's go through my thoughts on the game while we view the credits. That's not a whole lot of credits, but hey. Yeah, so let's start from the gameplay of the game, and specifically combat. So, generally the combat in this game is interesting in that the battlefields are really small. It's unusual, but actually it works, because the movement speed of every creature is pretty low as it is. So the small battlefields do make sense, and it also allows for high resolution sprites, so that's nice. It's unfortunate that there is no wait or defend buttons, so it's a good thing that they actually appeared in later games. It's also unfortunate that castles don't have gates. It's really strange that they didn't add any. And it's like, hey, you're a defender? Well, too bad. If you don't have ranged troops, your troops will be just behind walls and not able to do anything. Yeah, so I guess that's all about combat. Now the spells. It's definitely an interesting system here, in that you remember your knowledge amount of spells. It makes for more varied spells overall, and it also makes shrines very valuable, unlike in later games where they're pretty much useless. But on the other hand, it decreases the spell arsenal variety when around a certain place. So if you know that a town has certain spells, you can usually find heroes casting exactly those spells around the place. Which has its pros and cons. It's too bad that the variety around the place is lower, but at the same time you can probably strategize a bit more about how to approach the place. Yeah, so that's all about spells. Overall, there is pretty much less of everything compared to Heroes Chronicles and Heroes of Might and Magic 3. And the game, as I mentioned before, feels discrete, as in discrete numbers. But still, it's surprisingly similar to Heroes of Might and Magic 3 and Heroes Chronicles. It's just the same, just less of everything. And I guess, on one hand, the fact that there's less of everything is a minus, but on the other hand, I suppose it can be easier for new players, because there's fewer variables to think about. So I guess there's two sides to that as well. Now going to the story of the game. It's very valuable because it describes exactly how Ironfists got to the continent of Enroth and finally got to rule the continent of Enroth. The story is also pretty witty, and it's nice with the references and whatnot, but it's also rather short, and the only story is in the manual, actually. It's also interesting how many parallels there are to Might and Magic 6, The Mandate of Heaven, and I just have to wonder if they're intentional or not. It's like the Frozen Wastes and the Frozen Highlands certainly sound similar, and the fact that the sorceresses usually prefer water and whatnot, so it is related to the Misty Islands. It's very interesting. And next, about the audio. I really like the music in this game. I love almost every track here. And in fact, the next thing I will do on my channel is to make and upload extended versions of the tracks. The audio effects, well, interestingly enough, some of the audio effects seem to be references to other materials. At least some people in the comments have pointed that out. I'm not entirely certain about that, but yeah. About audio, it's also a bit hard to set the audio correctly, as I noted in the setup guide. You actually have to use a virtual machine to get the highest quality sound. But hey, once it's set up, it's nice. Then the video. The graphical style is definitely charming. Like hand-drawn World of Xen style, that's definitely interesting. And it's also very nice to see some of the older portraits from Might and Magic games updated in high definition, or at least higher definition than the originals. And the large sprites in the combat are also very nice to see. In all the later games, the sprites were smaller, I think, except for... Oops. Except for Heroes of Might and Magic 4, I believe, where you could scale it up to be bigger than the sprites here. Alright, and then some other thoughts. All the names in this game are references to Might and Magic games, which on one hand is nice, on the other hand it really doesn't help in determining who is supposed to be related to who, and who is just supposed to be a reference to be forgotten. So like, Alamar. Is he actually Shelton, or is he unrelated? And some of these names actually carried over to the later games. So again, it doesn't help. It's also interesting how one of the names for towns is Sorpigal, and in Might and Magic 6, the Mandate of Heaven, we have New Sorpigal as the starting town. So that, again, makes me wonder if it's actually intentional or not, that it's related. Alright, then about some of the downsides of this game. Well, specifically bugs. In the Windows version, you have the bug with the cursor blinking at some points. I tried to figure out when it blinks, and I think it generally blinks when the cursor is positioned near a place that is being animated, or like clickable or something like that. So maybe there's a way to position it so it doesn't really annoy you, but I don't know. Hopefully it wasn't annoying throughout the run. It's also interesting that the game freezes when there are too many saved games. Also quite unfortunate, but there is an autosave system, thankfully, so it's not that big of a deal. And you can just delete the extra files you don't need anymore afterwards. Then other versions of this game, well, I already talked about it in the setup video. There are DOS versions and nothing else. Well, at least nothing that relates to the original Heroes of Might and Magic 1 and Strategic Quest. I think there are like mobile versions, but they're really not exactly the same, so I don't think I should take them into consideration here. So yeah, all the DOS versions have inferior audio, so that's why I don't think they are any good compared to the Windows version. And then about mods of this game. That's an interesting question. I didn't actually look for any, and I don't really know about it. And I'm not sure if anyone actually tried to mod the game. I mean, there's a map editor, so obviously you can create maps easily. Whether anyone actually tried to mod the game itself, I don't really know. Because given that Heroes of Might and Magic 2 and Heroes of Might and Magic 3 exist, I don't really see much point in modding the first game. But then again, I guess there are some things that could be changed. But yeah, like I said, I don't really know much about that. So, this brings us to the last point of what is going to be next in the channel. Well, next is going to be, as I mentioned here, the Here's My Magic 1 music in extended format. Afterwards, immediately, I'll be starting Swords of Xeen. And after Swords of Xeen, I will move on to Heroes of Might and Magic 2, The Succession Wars. So yes, that is the plan. Alright, well, let's finish the video with a bit of demonstration. Hopefully it won't actually do anything to my recording, but I'll pause a bit for now. So 1 second. Alright, so here you can see the map editor for Heroes of Might and Magic 1. It's pretty interesting, it's pretty basic, you just like draw stuff. Very simple. You can place stuff. And, oh, interesting. Oh yeah, that's how you add stuff. And you can erase stuff. And change the zoom level, and so on and so forth. Change the description and whatnot. But interestingly enough, there is also a rand button. This is actually a random map generator, and you can choose a lot of different options. So random map generator started with the very first game in the series. So if I do that, and I can do that. Well, actually I can just put everything on many. And centralized landmass. This is interesting. Save map without viewing. If you press that, random map 2, large, easy, I guess. Okay. Random map 2 saved successfully. So how this works is that if you go outside, then relaunch Heroes of Might and Magic. Oh, that's the editor. Reload Heroes of Might and Magic itself. You can then start standard game on the random map 2. And you get said random map. Nice. And you can do stuff. Of course, as always, this random map generator is not the best. And you can even be stuck at the very beginning. Also interesting that you can get a shipyard here. Also, wow, those are terrible heroes for sand. But also enemies can get stuck at the very beginning of the game as well. So it's really a luck thing. And if you select hide the map, then you won't be able to tell what kind of a map that is before playing it. So that's nice. It's one way to get random maps in the game. Yeah, so well, I don't really want to show an entire scenario here. So I'll just leave it at that. But another thing that I wanted to mention just before we finish the game is that while finding out the strategy to use here to win the game, I actually thought about using cheats. I didn't use them in the end, of course, but I found out that this game actually has one cheat code, and one cheat code alone. That is pretty funny, but yes, that's actually how it works. Let me look it up again. It's... okay, let's see. if you just enter 101495, yes, this reveals the whole place. And as you can see, Dragon Tooth, red, are actually in a terrible position. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Meanwhile, we don't have access to a sawmill, but there are lots of ancient lamps. There are always lots of ancient lamps in the desert. Interestingly enough, none of them here. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, so that is the only cheat code in the game. There are some sites that claim there are more, but they don't actually work. At least not on the Windows version. Maybe it works on the DOS one. But yeah, so that's that, but that wouldn't have helped me win the game, right? So I also tried to see if there is a way to hex edit the save file, and there is. It's in fact very easy. So here's the same save file where I hex edited my troops to have the pretty much maximum number of troops in every slot. It's actually very easy because if you open the save file in the hex editor, you can just scroll down to the name of your hero, so in this case it was Ektar, and if you put your hex editor into the decimal number mode and look at the numbers that you have in your troops, you can see them just separated by zeros just after the hero name. So all you need to do is change that number to however many you want to have, and there we go. So that's interesting too. But yeah, that will be all for now, and I will see you all in the next playthrough on the channel. Whether it be Swords of Zine, or Heroes of Might and Magic, or Unreal. See you all then. Later.